Hello and welcome to Leviathan News. It's November 2nd, and today we have a gaming special. I think we've talked a little bit about gaming when we had Maddie on a couple of weeks back. Matt and I discussed how gaming could really be the next narrative for crypto and Web3, but we weren't really able to put a finger on it because we're more focused on DeFi. And I think that's one of the themes that we're seeing today as our industry grows is that it becomes harder and harder to keep a pulse on the entire industry, right? Like there's so many different thematics, whether you're dealing with infrastructure or games or really anything that across this entire space to become like an expert, right? It's impossible to know everything, right? But games really could be like the next multi-billion-dollar industry that we're looking at with the actual ability to bring in new users and enable mass adoption. And so today I've invited on Faultproof Ben, who runs the newsletter called WASD. And Ben covers online crypto gaming. So Ben, welcome to Leviathan News.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here with you guys.
Yeah. So I guess let's just start out, and maybe you could give us a brief overview of like where we are at. Like what's the scene for gaming today? Like, you know, in the non Web3 world, like regular world, it's pretty robust. There's a lot of indie developers, but there's also these like major studios as well that are developing titles. And from what I remember, so about like the big studios, right, is that you had like Star Atlas, unfortunately it was on Solana, had a bunch of money at FTX, and was supposed to be like the first big AAA game that was going to launch, but unfortunately had some treasury issues. But it's not the only one, right? And there are a bunch of other smaller and independent game studios that are working on trying to build out Web3 games. So like what's the current state of the industry in like our 18th month of this bear market?
Yeah. Wow, I can't believe it's been 18 months at this point. I'd say there's like I'd broadly kind of categorize it into like two buckets. So in the first one, you have kind of the what I'd call like Web 2.5 or Web 3 games, which is like kind of resembles like a normal video game, but it has like some sort of like crypto elements in there. So like it might have like NFT items, for example, or some sort of like kind of like stake to play layer where you can like stake tokens to like play in like a match of a game, for example. So, but the kind of distinction with kind of the Web 2.5 games is that like the entire game is not on chain. So like the actual game logic itself is like kind of off chain and like kind of a quote unquote like a regular game. And so then kind of the other bucket, and this is what I focus on with WASD, are the fully on chain games. So with these games, it's they might, depending on the game, like they might have NFT items like kind of the Web 2.5 games, but they also have their entire game logic itself is made up of smart contracts and lives on chain. So pretty much like every aspect of the game, with the exception of like the graphics, kind of lives on chain. And that's personally the area that I focus on the most, because I think it's the most interesting. And the most of any of the crypto games that I've played, the ones that I've had the most fun with are actually the fully on chain ones.
Yeah. So like what does that actually mean, right? Because you talked about having this 2.5 setup where you could have your infrastructure, like providing like essentially as a database for items, and it's obfuscated away. But like what's going on in these like Web3 games that make them different from other things that I might buy in? Like, I mean, can you find Web 2.5 games that are integrating crypto in like the Steam store yet? or in other like major distributors, or are these like mostly indie titles that are being put out? I'm sure like all the Web3 games, like it's probably hard to distribute them. Like what's the setup for them right now?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I'd say most of the games are like PC games, of course.
Mhm.
So some you can like download, like I know Illuvium. I've been able to like try out their beta, and that one you download. A lot of them are like browser-based games. Um, I believe there's a few listed in Steam. I know a while back, like Treasure DAO partnered
Mhm.
with a game that's listed in Steam. Um, I don't quite remember the like how it, in what way it uses NFTs, because
Yeah.
I never like got that into that specific game. But yeah, I'd say like distribution's definitely like a challenge because like you're right, like you can't just as easily get on Steam or get obviously like there's no like console games with crypto in like any sort of way. Um, I believe you have a few on kind of the Epic Game Store as well. I think I remember like reading an article. There's going to be like 20 games on the Epic Game Store. Um, but yeah, for definitely for kind of like the Web 2.5, Web 3 games, I'd say like the distribution is definitely
Yeah.
a challenge, kind of relative to uh, kind of fully Web 2 without the uh, decimal or games.
So like I think the three things that I can think of that would distinguish like a Web3 game, and maybe you can inform me if I have something missing, is that one, there could be a token or maybe no token, right? Maybe they just use like USDC for payments or something like stable coins. Two would be like NFT inclusion for items or whatever they want to have for in-game artifacts. Uh, and then three, like you said, would be this like fully on-chain code base that governs all aspects of the game. Is that correct, or am I missing something there?
Yeah, I think that for the most part that's correct. I'd say the fully on chain aspect only applies to, of course, like the fully on chain games. Um, but I'd say like the first two definitely apply to like the web kind of 2.5 games. I mean, not all games have like items that are NFTs necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I know at least 'cause at least with the on-chain games, there's actually like a lot of on-chain games I played that like don't have NFTs at all, and kind of they have kind of um, more so like a crypto economic like element to the gameplay. Like there's this game that um, just released 2 days ago called Drawtech, um, which essentially it's like it's kind of similar to Reddit's like a place where essentially it's like this big kind of canvas and you can draw on it. But in order to draw on it, you have to like pay some ETH for every like little square on the canvas that you draw on. Um, and then if other people draw on it as well, then assuming they don't draw over kind of the squares that you've drawn over, you'll earn some of the ETH that they pay in order to draw on the canvas.
Yeah, we had looked at. I don't know if you consider this a game. This is more like an art project, but we had looked at Base Paint the other day on stream, and I think what you it's similar, right? In that you can like draw these things, and then does it ever mint, or is it like a active and ongoing canvas? I tried pulling up the Draw Tech site, but apparently it's only for mobile. So
Yeah. So it's yeah, it is pretty similar to base paint. And yeah, it is a an active canvas, so it's like it's like constantly gonna like expand until the end of however long base lasts for. And yeah, it's actually you mentioned mobile. It's actually the first ever mobile on chain game.
oh wow.
Uh, yeah, which was pretty cool, I thought.
So wait, so are they using the what's it called? Those progressive web app to be able to load it into your phone?
Yeah. They use a the PWA with like the Privy wallet, so it's kind of similar
Mm.
to Friendtech in that regard. And then the actual like contracts of the game are built using Mud, um, which is Mud is essentially kind of like a people call it like an engine for on-chain games.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like a framework that like makes it easier for like developers to build like on-chain games. So it's become used by like a lot of the fully on-chain gaming projects are building using Mud.
Is that for mobile or is that for PC?
It's really for it really can be used for like anything. I know most of the kind of the games built in Mud, and most on-chain games are like browser games.
Mhm.
But this one, for example, is a Drawtech is a mobile game. So it could really be used like kind of like any platform, because it's really just like deploying, just like a way to like create like smart contracts.
So, like, where does mobile sit? Because I think that I, I I was looking when I was researching this, and something to the effect of more than 60% of all games are mobile now, and PC gaming is growing as an industry, but most people play games on their phone. They're like small, they're quick, and like
Sam,
so.
you mean games in general now when you're asking, or crypto games?
No, I'm saying the entire gaming market, right? Like when we look at the gaming market as a whole, more than 60% of like
Wow,
sales is just from mobile. So
really, most gaming today worldwide is on mobile.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So it's pretty crazy actually. So I'm looking at the numbers here. I have a little chart here that I can pull up. Mobile is, here we go. Let me pull this up. So mobile is expected to hit, if you can see this, 136, right? I believe it's 136 billion dollars for 2022. While home consoles was about 42 billion dollars, PCs were about 40 billion dollars, and then handheld consoles were about $4 billion. So, and this is this top line that's just showing like upwards linear growth is mobile gaming.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that extreme.
Yeah. I mean, but that's why I think people are so like bullish on the gaming market.
Yeah.
Is just because, you can look at those numbers and say, what if we can build like at least one game that captures 1% of that, right? That's a $250 billion market right there. What if we what if we can capture $250 million in sales a year from that? Which
Crypto gaming for me as well. I think it's going to be one of the biggest narratives, and I think it divides in a way to two, because there's the niche of crypto games, in a way, just like I think that are quite more popular today. Stuff that you see, like for example, the stuff that Treasure DAO is doing, and I'm sure some other projects as well. But it's so focused on the already DeFi native consumer, or player, or however you call it, end user.
Like look, here's a chart of the top games worldwide, right? So Honor of Kings, which I've never heard of, but maybe it's.
Yeah, but we're boomers, man. Come on.
I'm boomers. I'm guessing it's a mobile game. And I'm guessing it's based in Asia as well too, potentially. But they earned $1.65 billion last year. Imagine if there was a crypto Web3 game that had $1.65 billion.
But that's what I'm actually talking about. The fact that the big market for gaming is not the one for niche games who are specifically for crypto users, whatever. It's how do we actually, as an industry, get into the real scene of the actual gaming, which is what you're showing here now, because that's the actual shift. And I think that, and of course, Ben, feel free to correct us if we're wrong. But like what we're seeing now in crypto gaming is pretty much just the fraction of the fraction of the fraction, because I've never heard of a game yet. I mean, I haven't heard yet about a game that's actually taking some crypto aspects and actually using them, but as a general game, it's just a regular name and a game and not crypto oriented. It's not like when some of these game producers, when they actually integrate crypto themselves, that's our big breakthrough, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I would maybe like push back on that a little bit, just because I would say like with DeFi, for example, like you could make the same case like, oh, like DeFi is like very like DeFi won't kind of like matter per se unless it like reaches traditional institutions and like unless like JP Morgan starts like using it, and like obviously today, like some institutions are like dipping their toes in DeFi, but for the most part it's still like a very niche thing just used by like crypto people, yet it's still, even within that, it's still like massive, and like the TVL in DeFi today is like the size of like the GDP of
so small.
a lot of small countries. Which is, so I think like kind of like whether Web 2.5 or fully on-chain games, they could definitely still be like very very successful, even if they don't reach like normies yet per se. Because I think like none of the crypto use cases really have yet, and I would still say crypto has been success, though I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with that.
I mean, it's so nascent. I mean, Ethereum only came out in 2017, and we're just getting to have L2s and cheaper transactions now, right? I mean, Axie Infinity just like launched back in 2020, and like look at it now, right? They've had their first like run up, providing for salaries of half the Philippines at the time, and then unfortunately were hacked, and but they still have a big user base. People are still playing it, right? And then if you look at some of the other games, or at least the ones that I know, right? So Ben, you'll have to excuse me because I'm like adjacent to all this stuff, but I just see headlines come every now and again. So the big games that I've seen that are coming soon are NFL Rivals, which I read some news about. Said they had a large user base, but like 150,000 people in their beta period, and it'll be like crypto enabled, and it'll be mobile as well too. And then also Alien Worlds as well too. I've heard some interesting things about. So I think there are, and then and then So Rare as well too. So Rare, I think like I have some friends that are playing it, and they seem to like it a lot.
Yeah, it's about football, like what you guys in the States call soccer. And it's quite huge, actually, the So Rare part. I'm not really that into it, but I think that's actually one of the more successful niches, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think this So Rare works more like your fantasy football leagues, right? So like when we talk about all three of these games, right, Ben, like would these all fall into like the Web 2.5 thing of what you were talking about?
Yeah. So they'd all like fall because they're all like games like crypto in some way, but they're not fully. Their game logic itself is not kind of smart contracts. Which of course, like there's nothing wrong. Like I play games that aren't fully on-chain games like every day.
Yeah. Yeah, because I like I look at it and see that it's hard to get people to come play your game. Like it's really hit or miss. Sometimes like the turnover in gaming is like pretty high, right? Like make a game, put it out. If it doesn't do well, you just can fold and go on to the next one. But eventually, hopefully something hits, right? And it's got enough attraction power to bring people in. And it's got to be fun. And then so let's what are some of the games that are like fully on chain and have all the logic on chain that you can show to us?
Yeah, and also if I can add to it something, where can we find out about new games? Like, where's the best place to find out about new Web3 games?
Well, yeah. I think that would be your newsletter, Ben. So WASD has a weekly article that is put out. We can see here that covers. Do you post new games in here, Ben?
Yeah. So we have put out like three articles a week. This is kind of the Friday one, which is kind of just like a recap of kind of the news and such. But yeah, I mean, I'd of course say we're the best place to find new on-chain games. We do like a lot of write-ups about individual games, about whole like ecosystems of games, all that. Yeah, so our mirror and then our Twitter. I think we have the best meme game in all of on-chain gaming as well. So if you like memes about on-chain games, yeah, you should definitely give us a follow as well.
Yeah.
But
so I was looking at Pirate Nation when I was reading your articles. This one looks interesting. This one reminds me of Sid Meier's Pirates, which I could definitely see having elements of like NFTs and crypto built into it.
Yeah. Pirate Nation is a lot of fun. Yeah, it's similar kind of. It's actually created by the co-creators of Farmville. So it has like a lot of similarities to Farmville. And yeah, it's kind of like an RPG where it's like you do quests, you like fight other ships and try to like get like loot and like craft items, and you get like this island where you can like flex all your loot that you accumulate. So yeah, it's definitely one of the more popular on-chain games. My personal favorite is this game called Primodium, which is it's similar in a lot of respects to this game called Factorio. If you guys have
I know
heard of that. Yeah. I actually never played Factorio before I played Primodium. But essentially in Primodium, it's like you takes place in like this asteroid belt, and you get like an asteroid, and you can like mine these resources and then use those resources to like build factories, and then mine like other resources, and then you can also they just added a new update where now it has like a PvP mode in it, so you can like raid other people's asteroids as well, and like steal their resources that they accumulate. It's a ton of fun. I think like when the update like first released for like a week straight, it was like all I did was play Primodium. It like took over my whole life, to the point where I had to like go kind of cold turkey, and I was like, I can't like play this game for a while. But yeah, Primodium is it's a ton of it's a ton of fun. I know I was at a permissionless a while back, like 2 months ago, and they had like just released a new update, and I know like the people I was staying with for like the conference, like we all just like spent half the conference playing. So I'm a huge Primodium fan. It's still on like testnet right now. So it's not like and they're like still updating the game and stuff. So it's not like the full game is not released yet. But it's a ton of fun. And yeah, I could see your mining and
So wait, what is this when you just like build your asteroid base and then go attack other players?
Yeah. So eventually, like you'll get like enough resources of like iron and copper to where it's like you can build something else, and then from there it's like you kind of like slowly build your way up, and then yeah, your goal is like to accumulate the most like resources. There's like a leaderboard where you can like see all the players and how well they're doing, and yeah, it gets intense. It gets
Wow,
it gets
look
very
at all the asteroids. This is huge. Like this star map. This is pretty big. There's a lot of asteroids to go explore here.
Yeah. I think there's like over like 200 players, which isn't like compared to like Fortnite. Obviously, it's not very many, but in on-chain games, it's definitely one of the bigger ones.
It's pretty cool. So this one on Arbitrum, or like are these are all using L2s, right?
Yeah. So that one's on its own OP stack L2 using like Caldera, which I believe is a roll up as a service provider. Yeah, so that there's a lot of Pirate Nation is on Arbitrum Nova, but yeah, Primodium's on OP Stack L2.
Because
do we have any stats on how many people are already playing these games?
There's not like a ton of there's really not any like Dune. We need like a Dune wizard in the on-chain community. Yeah, I'd say like just by like looking at like kind of the different like leaderboards for these different games, I'd say like some games probably have as many as like 400 or 500. So I'd say in total the on-chain gaming community is probably like there's probably like 500 to like maybe like 1,000 players in total, which like it's a very like small community, but it's really like an awesome community. Like everyone's having like a ton of fun. It's great vibes. Yeah, it's definitely like a very like organic kind of community, which is it's fun to. I'm very biased, but it's fun.
Yeah, for sure. What's like the hangout place of this community? Like if someone really wants to get into the core of crypto gaming, like where should we go? Like, are there specific Discord servers, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say I mean, of course, I'm biased, but the
we all are. No worries, man.
Yeah, the WASD collector Telegram chat is a great place. So if you collect one of our articles on Mirror, or if you join our guild, which we just launched, which minting is still ongoing, you can join like a Telegram chat, which is we definitely have a great community kind of rocking in there. Yeah, I'd say the Lattice Discord is a great place to start.
Like the Grid Plus Discord.
Oh no, this is a different Lattice.
Okay.
I also thought maybe that because these people are so heavy DeFi users, probably maybe they're also into gaming.
Yeah. No, it's a different figure. I feel like there's a ton of companies in crypto that all have like the same name. But there's a Lattice is I believe I mentioned like Mud earlier. They're kind of the team that created like the Mud framework and is like developing that. So they have a very active Discord. The Primodium Discord is another good one. The Small Brain Games Discord, they're the team behind like DrawTech, and they have a bunch of other games that they're building. So it really I'd say like it's fragmented, but like if you find a game, if you come across a game that you like, I would just definitely go in their Discord. I'm sure you'll find other people in there. who are who are playing, and yeah, you'll kind of find your you'll find some other people pretty quickly.
It's pretty cool. I just found I think we're still seeing a bunch of experimentation in like gaming, NFT, crypto space. Yesterday, I saw this project called Memento Mori, which is a on-chain memorial to fallen World of Warcraft hardcore adventurers. So when you die in Classic WoW hardcore, you connect your Battle.net account to the site, and then you can generate an NFT that has all of your gear that you had at the time that you died, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So I have a picture here somewhere. Let me pull up a picture of what it looks like. You essentially can memorialize the many hours that you put into hardcore, right? Which I think a lot of people have done. So here's a picture of what it looks like.
A lot of people are going to break some records, man.
Yeah, which is a nice way to like use things, right? So yeah. So like what's like, where is the best environments getting built out for these L2 games? I know that Avalanche has been making a big push, OP as well too, Arbitrum, like known as the DeFi chain, but like you said, they have Arbitrum Nova, they have a couple of other Arbitrum One, they have a couple of other networks that they're building out. Like, where do most developers seem to be heading towards for building?
Yeah. So I'd say for the kind of Web 2.5, Web 3 games, Arbitrum is definitely very big. Avalanche. There's really kind of like games like kind of everywhere. I'd say for the kind of Web 2.5, Web 3 games. I think Polygon has some games. Yeah, I can speak more towards the fully on-chain games because that's where I spend more of my time. I would say probably the biggest right now are like kind of the Optimism ecosystem with all the OP stack L2s, just because kind of Mud, which is I mean, it could be used on any EVM chain, but like it got started on Optimism, so I think like they're pretty aligned with that ecosystem, and I think like a lot of developers have gravitated to kind of the Optimism ecosystem. Starknet is very big for on-chain games as well. They have their own kind of like Mud equivalent engine called Dojo. So Starknet has a really big on-chain gaming community. I would also add Arbitrum kind of as well, kind of like that article you're referencing. They're definitely, I'd say there's not as much in Arbitrum as there are in Optimism and Starknet, but you have like games like Pirate Nation on Arbitrum Nova. You have Raskow, which is another Arbitrum Nova game, and I think like I know also Zai, the L3, that they're kind of big in Web 2.5 games, but they also have some fully on-chain games that are going to deploy on there. So I think like Arbitrum is definitely a dark horse as in the battle among L2s to like who will which will attract all the on-chain games. And then you also have like you're going to have like kind of like some kind of L2 stacks that are like solely for on-chain games. So you have like Paima, World Engine from Argus, and then Keystone from Curio, and those are going to be three kind of like three kind of L2 ecosystems that are like solely like, I mean, I'm sure they'll have like you can do other stuff on there, but the design of like the rollups themselves are like specifically optimized for on-chain games.
And also, I think there will, at some point, that's what I was kind of referring to earlier. I think there's going to be huge demand for this stuff because we're really just seeing now the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg, because people really like gaming, and I really do think that crypto gaming is still very much a niche, because I think that the vast majority of people, they have no idea about these games at the moment, or how to even find out about them. Like if I ask you, for example, Ben, if you can, or maybe like, or if I, for example, ask you, how do you profile the average crypto gamer at these days? Like these are probably not very young kids, but also not very old. Do you have anything like that? Like, how would you describe the average crypto gaming user these days?
Yeah, that's a tough that's a tough question, because you never so many people are like PFPs.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. I mean, I for myself, I'm like 24. I mean, I'd say like probably like young to mid 20s in their 20s. I'd say. I don't know if 24 what that qualifies as young or mid 20s, but I would say like it's definitely I'd say for on-chain games, it's definitely like crypto kind of native people, of course. Like if you're playing like an on-chain game right now, you're probably like a crypto like a crypto always in crypto.
You probably are. You're coming from DeFi. I would imagine that if you find out about the game today, you probably do so because you're into DeFi and that kind of stuff, and then you find out about it. My question, like what's interesting to me is, when will people start learning about crypto games and then learn about DeFi? You know what I mean? Like when is the direction going to change? Because I think that once that starts happening, gaming is actually going to be huge in onboarding, in my opinion, new users into crypto in general, not the other way around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. It's tough to know when that'll happen. My kind of philosophy, at least with like the fully on-chain games, that like first you actually do have to get like the crypto people, because even those like crypto people I talk to like don't know what on-chain games are like yet, or like they know what they are, but like they haven't like really heard of any, and it's still like a very like kind of under the radar kind of the impression I get is like it's a very under the radar niche within crypto still. So I think like for on-chain games, you need to get kind of the crypto people first, and then kind of like DeFi, once you have like the crypto people, then you can start to go and get like the rest of the world.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, it's that direction only. Mainly because, like I said earlier, like the chances of someone learning about these games without being involved in crypto beforehand, quite small at the moment. I can just imagine.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, and I think like I think like you don't kind of like Sam said earlier, like it's still like very young, and still like such like a new. I mean, crypto's so new, and I mean like on-chain games even within crypto. I think like Dark Forest came out in like 2020. So like I think like in my view there like isn't necessarily like a rush to reach like kind of like the normies, or there maybe shouldn't necessarily be like a rush to reach like the normies. I think like like it also, for me, like I like how it's kind of like niche and like weird, and it's like a kind of like a
for sure. When you're early at stuff like that, it's always it's a lot of fun to see the early stages. I agree. I think that many of us feel that way. I'm sure, especially these past few years, about DeFi as well.
Yeah. Oh, of course. DeFi is DeFi is always like my first. Always feel like the first thing that in crypto that like got me to like fall in love with crypto. Like,
do you see any like I don't know the exact word, but do you see any collaborations there that are beginning to be interesting? Like, for example, between DeFi and crypto gaming, like, are there any DeFi protocols that are actually trying to leverage on the fact that many of the users are quite into gaming and maybe use this niche to their advantage?
There's not a ton at the moment, but I think like in the future that's definitely gonna change. Like I think like I think like within like games we'll see like kind of like embedded like dexes and like lending markets, and there's a ton of ways where like DeFi can kind of like because like on-chain games, like they can just like tap into DeFi protocols like extremely easily because it's all on-chain and all like composable with one another. Like Primodium, for example, like maybe someday, like when it's on mainnet, there'll be like lending markets for different resources, and like maybe you'll be able to like borrow against your base or something. It's just me just spitballing, but there's not a ton of interaction between the two yet, but I think that's definitely going to change, and that's one of the things I'm like the most excited for as a DeFi and on-chain gaming enjoyer.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for like the first, like, I mean, I guess Axie, if you want to call it that, but something that has like lasting power to keep like $1 billion economy going, right? Maybe that's Parallel. Parallel is coming soon. I think that it's been pretty hyped. I don't know if you've tried playing or gotten some packs or something, but card games are always big, core collectibles, and then using it to play. So, I mean, maybe that's it, maybe something else, but really waiting to hit on like the first major title that can sweep up, like 1 million people.
Can you even imagine how huge this will be for crypto once there's an actual game that picks up? And I'm pretty sure it's going to be the kind of a game that, how can I say, it's going to be a game that you don't expect it to be the game that's the game changer, but it's actually going to be the game changer. And all of a sudden, these everyone like they're playing Candy Crush. Yeah, a few days ago, I was with friends, and my friend's wife told us that she's already playing Candy Crush for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and she's at level 5,000 or something like that. Imagine that some of these days there's going to be a game that integrates crypto, maybe even in a gentle way, like even allowing them to just earn crypto while they play such a game. And this can all of a sudden, onboard huge amounts of users and capital into the game.
Yeah. No, I know it's gonna be really cool and exciting. I do think that they will definitely come. I'm not sure, if it'll be like a year or like 15 years. But I think like that will definitely. I think that's gonna happen. It's gonna be really cool. Like to see. Like I can just imagine like normies playing like. Playing like Draw Tech or something or Parallel or some, whether Web 2.5 or fully on-chain game. Like I think it'll be really cool to see.
How did you get into it, Ben? By the way, what made you attracted into this whole scene? Like, are you a gamer? Were you a gamer when you were younger? What kind of games do you like before crypto? Like, how did your two passions for both crypto and gaming combine?
Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing video games like my whole life, growing up on video games. Yeah, let's see what I play. I mean, I was a huge like Minecraft guy, GTA, COD, big sports gamer. I guess I was the kind of a those are all like very like triple A games. But yeah, I guess I was always always played video games all the time. And yeah, I mean, I guess with crypto, I kind of got into like crypto games back in let's see, I think it was like January, because it was kind of like right after like FTX happened, and I was like, do I even want to like stay in this space? And I was trying to find something that was like exciting and like interesting, and yeah, then I kind of like got at first I was into like Web 2.5 games, and then I had a friend who was into like fully on-chain games, and then I kind of in the spring I like fell down that rabbit hole, and then I I think after I played this game called Sky Strife, which is another it's like this fully on-chain RTS game. It's a ton of fun.
What's RTS? Could you explain?
Yes, it's like a real-time strategy game. So it's kind of like Age of Empires or like StarCraft. And yeah, I think after I played like Sky Strife, I was like, whoa, there's like actually like this was a ton of fun, and it's like a crypto game. So then I kind of like really like got hooked after that, and then yeah, I worked at a Bankless before kind of starting my own media company, and then
Oh wow, cool.
yeah, I decided like, all right, like I gotta do gaming full time, and now here I am.
Very cool. So anybody that's interested in checking out Ben's newsletter that he writes, you can go to WASD, and that is wasd.mirror.xyz. And like Ben said, they publish on Monday, Thursdays, and Fridays. I believe that means that there should be an article coming out today.
Yeah, in a few hours. Yep.
So there's a bunch of great stuff to take a look at here. The last article that was posted was the ultimate guide to Optimism's on-chain gaming ecosystem. I actually found Ben through his other posts talking about the Arbitrum ecosystem. We talked about a few of those games today. These articles go into some of the descriptions of what the stack is, the infrastructure. Here's the Sky Strife game that you were talking about, the RTS game, also Primodium as well too, which we showed on stream just a little while ago. And then there are several others as well too. So please go check it out. Subscribe to WASD. And Ben, thank you so much for coming today and teaching us a bit about Web3 and online gaming.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me on.
Awesome.
And much respect for your work, man.
Thank you. And likewise.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for being here, and everybody else at home as well too. You can follow us at Leviathan News on YouTube, Twitter, and even find us in Spotify and Apple Podcasts every single day of the week. So you can find Ben at Faultproof Ben on Twitter, and also you can find me and DeFi Advisor there as well too. It's nice to have DeFi Advisor back. Thank you for being here. Thank you everybody for and thank you everybody at home that tuned in today. We will be back tomorrow. We've got a demo from Ryder that is going to be showing off their brand new hardware wallet. This is pretty cool, actually. It has no passphrases, and everything is contained within a hardware device. It's pretty cool.
What's the name again?
So it's Ryder, RYDER, and I'll pull up the website right now So they have this little
Looks good.
so it's this little thing where the passphrases are actually stored within this little floating thing that's happening here, and then you just tap the recovery tag and to your actual wallet here, and then it can fire off transactions. So they're going to come and show us this tomorrow. The Rider
Cool.
device. They were at Solana Breakpoint this week, debuting the thing. They're doing a Kickstarter right now. They've got a really good and experienced team that has built hardware before. So I don't know. It looks interesting. I saw it, and the thing that got me was passphraseless hardware wallets, because that's the one thing that everybody screws up on when if they're going to lose any money, right? It's that they just give away their they enter their passphrase into MetaMask somewhere and just let hackers take all their money, right? So we'll share some of this on YouTube. Oh, they have their breakpoint. So they've done their introduction. Tomorrow we're gonna have Louis on, and he's gonna introduce us to Rider. So come tomorrow to come check this out. All right. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, DeFi Advisor. And
Thank you, sir.
We'll see
Yeah,
you
thank
tomorrow.
you.
Bye.